Right, first and foremost, I'm going to ask everyone to excuse the background. Um, Quite a lot of you may know I have recently moved home. I was hoping to have this room decorated before we got stream started again. But I'm going to be honest with you, I got to a stage where, quite simply, I'd missed doing this regularly too much. And I just figured, you know what, let's just get it set up, get everything in, get things up and running, see how things go. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as you have more than likely will have seen, we are bringing back the FTG podcast. It's been a while. I believe actually it's been a good number of months. This was something that I started a long time ago now. I want to say about 7, maybe 8 months ago. I could probably find out the exact amount of time. But I've delayed this and delayed it. So originally we were supposed to start 2 weeks ago now, I believe. I believe the initial date for the return was the 6th of January. Let me just double check that. The 7th. Sorry, I do apologise. Yeah, because it would be a Sunday. I've just had so much going on with the move and all that kind of stuff that, unfortunately, I have had to keep putting things back. But that's life. Obviously, we'd all love to be able to do what we like to do in our downtime all the time, but unfortunately, when you get old, that's just not a possibility. I am very, very happy to be bringing in a good friend of mine, and I can't actually think of anyone better to bring in for the return of this. And I'm going to be honest, right, guys. I was a little bit nervous and a little bit anxious about doing this because it's been so long. But I kept toying with the idea. A few people had said that they were interested, and I thought, bollocks to it. Let's just pull the trigger and let's get it done. So, without further ado, let's all say a warm welcome to Big Macca. Mr. Macca, how are we? Oh, I don't seem able to hear you. Wait a sec.
You still got me muted.
It would probably help if I took this card off mute. The more you know. How's things, man? You good?
I'm very well, thank you, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks, man. Mr. Vincent has just appeared in chat. Macca is awesome. Vince knows. Vince knows. Right, Macca, I just want to start things off by saying a very big thank you for your patience over these last couple of weeks. Because, obviously, initially we were supposed to do this 2 weeks ago, and then we were supposed to do it last week, and then life and everything like that just keep getting in the way. So I do appreciate your patience with me there for that, man.
All good, man.
So, usually, what I get people to do... Oh, I was trying to move my logo. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to say as well, this is my first ever stream from a Wi-Fi connection. And I've literally, within the last couple of minutes, set my PC up. So I'm still figuring a couple of kinks out. If there's any issues, just try and bear with me. But please do let me know, and I'll do what I can do to sort things out on my end. So, Macca, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone? Who's Big Macca and what brought you to Twitch?
Well, I'm 40 years old now. Celebrated it last year. Started Twitch back in lockdown, really. Well, I actually started prior to that, but on Mixer, on the good old days of Mixer. So, I just, I've always wanted to give streaming a go. I thought, yeah, let's do it. Fuck it. Let's just do it. And I did. And went from there, really.
Nice. So it was just like, what was it like? A just off the cuff kind of thing? Was it something that you'd toyed around with for a while?
I've been on Twitch since like 2014, just watching streams and stuff like that. And then basically, yeah, man, just I was part of what a little community, if you want to call it that, of a few guys, and they all streamed, and I met them through Twitch, and they just kind of pushed me into it, and I was like, yeah, do you know what? I've got a PC. I've got a console. I've got a capture card. Fuck it, let's do it. I just did.
So did you go straight to like PC through capture card then?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
very nice.
I bought myself an Ava Media GP Lite. so it wasn't an Elgato. And then I was running that. It's like 720p. I was running that, and yeah, actually, an old friend of mine, gave me the Elgato HD60, and then I just carried on from there. Really, so
Nice.
yeah, I've always had a PC. I've always had consoles, so it made sense just to start straight in at the PC side of it.
Nice, nice. And I've got to ask, I know obviously there's no real right or wrong answer with this one, but I will judge you if you say the wrong one. What was the first console that you used to stream?
What, through the capture card?
Yeah.
PS4.
Ah, there we go, my man, my man. No right or wrong answers, but yeah.
I'm not one of these people that jump into the old console war and my console's better than yours, because let's be honest, all the games are out on pretty much every one of them. But yeah, I'm a PlayStation kid, man. I always have been. I've had them all the way through from PS1 all the way to PS5. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, I've had every Xbox as well, so it's you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was always, I mean, quite like what you've said there. I was never one of those that would get into arguments with people about what console was better. It was just simply the when it came to PlayStation or Xbox, I got bought a PlayStation and then got bought a PlayStation 2, and I just ran with it from there. In all due respect, nothing against anyone that does play Xbox. I've owned a few Xboxes myself, but no, I've always been a PlayStation kind of guy. And I think when it comes to consoles, I can't see me religiously changing over to anything else. I mean, I've got a few different consoles now, but PlayStation, that's always my go-to.
Hey, when your first computer or console, yeah, right, is a Commodore 64, yeah. Let's be honest, man. Fucking, I don't care what I play games on. You know, I mean, Christ, the Commodore 64 and the loading screens and the screeching sounds of the loading screens, man. It's like, I'm surprised I'm not fucking deaf and dumb by now. It's that those loading screens were built to give you eye cancer. It was just disgusting. And I would sit there happily happily as a fucking 6-year-old sitting there playing it all day. So I've never got into the console wars. I don't care about it. Let's be honest. You people that moan about the console wars, like, oh, Xbox is better than PlayStation. Yeah, but PC's better than both of them.
Yeah, that is true.
Xbox can do 4K. Yeah, but PC can do 8K. And virtual reality, it's almost like, yeah. So
yeah, like I said, I've never understood the console war thing myself. You like what you like, and other people like what they like. How boring would it be if it was a case of that we went through life and everybody was just all into the same sort of stuff and no one had any sort of variation? What a fucking boring world that would be.
exactly. And yeah, there we go. Vince has knocked it on the head. His console's a YouTube player now. Generally, most people's consoles through lockdown that bought them to stream on, they've now turned into streaming, like, YouTube, Netflix, etc., etc. Because just yeah,
Yeah.
I've got two PlayStations set up on the telly. I got the PS3 and the PS4.
I think for me personally, the PlayStation 3, I think I think it was probably my favourite one out of the ones. I mean, I'll be honest, I've not actually bought a PlayStation 5 as yet. Don't know if I'm going to, but I probably will at some point, just to say that I've bought one. But I didn't see the need for it. I bought my PC, I want to say about 2 years ago now, and kind of made a hypocrite out of myself because I always said, oh, I've always been console, I'll always be console. And yeah, it's just been gathering dust since I got my PC because, as you just rightly said, it's just leaps and bounds so much better than playing on console.
To be fair, man, I've only got a PS5 because my lovely wife that I've been with now for 22 years.
Wow.
I came home from work one day and there was a big old parcel on my desk, and I've gone, "What's that?" She went, "That's yours." And I went, "What is it?" She went, "Open it." I've opened it. It's PS5. I'm like, fucking hell. It's the only reason why I got one. I was quite happy with the PS4.
And come on, right? But at the minute, there only seems to be me, you, and Vincent here. What had you done to get that PS5? You'd had to do like the pots for 2 weeks or something, or some kind of shit, right?
Nah, mate, I've been with her for 23 years. I've got skills in other departments and cleaning. Trust me.
I
Trust
like
me.
it. If you can remember, because I know you said obviously it was a couple of years ago now that you came to Twitch. Can you remember what the first game that you ever actually streamed was?
Yeah, Resident Evil 3 remake.
Nice, and that's something we've got in common actually. That was the first one that That's the first one I streamed.
Yeah.
Since you brought it up, I've got to get your opinions because everyone seems to be very opinionated on Resident Evil 3 remake. What did you actually think of the game?
Um, if it so if it was priced at 35 quid on release, I would have said well worth it, 100%.
Hmm.
The fact is that I was one of those mugs that bought it for 70 quid when it first came out and went through it in about an hour and gone, yeah, that's an hour of my life I'm never going to get back.
Yeah,
That's 70 quid that I'm never going to get back.
yeah, I get that, and I mean, it took me a bit longer. I think it took my first playthrough was a good 7, 8 hours or something like that. Mainly because when it comes to the remakes, the first thing I do is I like to hoard. I like to go and explore everywhere. I like to pick up as much as I can and whatnot. So it always is going to take me quite a while. Um, I don't personally believe that it's as bad as people try and make it
It's
out to be.
it's not a bad game, but when you think that Separate Ways for RE4 DLC was pretty much almost the same length, give or take,
Yeah, that's true.
and it was 8.99.
Yeah, and that's a fair point.
You
Well made. I
you
think.
you 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 kind of sit there and you go, just on that basis, it's a terrible game.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, right? Um, but if it, I'm glad that they sort of pulled their fingers out and did something with RE4 remake because yeah, it kind of let it kind it's kind of let the remakes down if that makes sense because they had RE1 remake which was fantastic, RE2 which was fantastic, and then they've got 3 and it kind of ugh.
Yeah, it did
So
it did really lower the bar. I don't think I think with a lot of people, it's not necessarily a case of that they think the game itself is bad because I don't think it is. I think if you look at it as a standalone game, as a game in its own right, I think it is a very good game. It is very enjoyable. I think what people's gripe with it more so is how good it could have been. If they'd have took that bit of extra time and put that bit of extra effort in. Because if you compare it to RE3 OG, with some of the things that are missing from it, all they'd have had to do is include those parts, and I genuinely believe that you've got a game of the year contender on your hands there. But
yeah,
as you,
yeah. I mean, this is the problem with remakes, though. You always compare them to the originals, and if the
yeah,
originals had so much love and memories for people, because I still remember picking RE up, like the very first one on PS1, like back in 98, 97. Whenever, no, 90. Did it come out in 96 or 97? Either way,
I think one
and
was 96. Yeah,
and I and I loved that game, absolutely loved it. Um, and I'm a massive zombie fan, like the film. I love all George A. Romero films, and they're cheesy as hell, but I just love them. I think they're brilliant. I love that whole genre of zombies. And then when you just got your beloved franchise and watch it diminish over the years to the states of RE6 was, and then they pick the baton up with RE7, and then they start making all these awesome remakes, and then they go, oh yeah, by the way, there's RE3 remake, and it's just because RE3 OG was such a good game.
yeah.
Sorry, 2 seconds. Don't let him out. Right. Sorry about this. 2 seconds.
No worries, pal. The demo section was awesome in RE3, needed more streetscape. Yeah, I think that's what I was sort of getting at earlier, Vince, is just how much more they could have done with it than what they did. But do you know what? In terms of the demo in comparison to the final product, reminds me an awful lot of Welcome to Raccoon City because the trailer for Welcome to Raccoon City was brilliant, and then the end product was just like, it really didn't live up to the hype.
Apologies for that. That was a minor inconvenience. My little girl's just let my dog out, and because it's really windy down here, the fence has blown down. So I was
Oh
making
God.
sure he didn't get into next door's garden.
No problems. So yeah, just obviously going back to what you were saying there about the remakes and whatnot.
Yeah. So RE3 for me was a letdown, but I suppose it's got its place, hasn't it? Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, of course. You still
It's
see
got,
enough
it's got,
people playing it.
yeah, and like I've just read Vince's comment. The the street needed a lot more depth to it. It was a bit sort of over very quickly, wasn't it? Very
Yeah.
like almost like speed running it as well. I mean, you can go through half the game in about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's like, really?
Although it does make me laugh though with the criticism of how short it is, because I can actually complete the original quicker than what I can do the remake. I mean, maybe it's just a case of that I'm better at the original than I am the remake, because I've played it a lot more. Let's be honest, the game's been out, what, I think 3 came out in 1999, if memory
Yeah,
serves.
yeah, 1999. Yeah,
And what was it? Was it 20 years later, the remake? Was that 2019, I want to say?
yeah, it was. Yeah, no, 2020 because I started streaming in 2020. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, 2019 was RE2 remake.
Oh, yeah, that's right, that's right. But then, yeah, like you rightly said earlier, I think they did really pick the ball back up with RE4 Remake. I thought, especially my first playthrough, I was blown away with RE4 Remake, and I thought they did really well with it. But I think they sort of knew that they had to, because I think had that one have flopped as well, I think it would have just blown the series away.
Mm.
But
Yeah, no, I was very impressed because I wasn't a massive fan of the original RE4. Wasn't a massive fan of it.
no, and do you know
Um,
what? I've sort of made this point a few times since playing the remake. As much as I do enjoy the remake, and I think it is a fantastic game, I actually found it gave me a newfound love for the original. I was able to go back and play it and enjoy it a damn sight more than when I used to.
yeah, yeah, no, I've just never got on with the original. For some reason, I just didn't. It never really tickled my pickle. Um, just, just didn't really. The remake though was amazing. I love the remake. I think the remake's a great game. But yeah,
I think
you know,
one of the gripes I always had with RE4 original was, for me, that was sort of the changing point of the whole dynamic of the game. That's where it seemed to go more action based than survival horror, which is what we all
mm,
knew Resident Evil for.
yeah,
And I think that was my sort of let down with it initially, was that, like, I can't remember playing through the original and ever being scared at any point. Whereas
mm,
you play RE1 and you walk into an attic room and all of a sudden there's gigantic snake coming out at you, or RE2 right from the get go, Kendo's gun shop and they're bursting through windows at you. Um,
yeah.
and 3, that needs no explanation. Nemesis following you around like a
Oh,
bastard.
yeah. Nemi's a bit of a pain in the ass in the original, to be honest.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think that was what 4 was lacking, is you didn't really have anything like that.
yeah, well, I think, like you say, the fourth one was that whole move from fixed camera angles to over the shoulder, and it was like it's kind of like my love for Final Fantasy. I love the turn-based Final Fantasies. 7, 8, 9, and then obviously 1 to 6. When for example, I didn't play 10 properly or 11, 12.
Yeah,
13 was on the 360, wasn't it? That was the one with lightning. I
yeah,
just
that's
didn't enjoy it. It was just not Final Fantasy to me, and it was like that was another beloved franchise that I grew up with, and I'm like, oh, if it ain't fixed, don't. If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
yeah, and I think especially RE4, I think what they've done there is they've tried to bring a whole new audience into the series, which it did well, and the sales will tell you that. Um, and then you'll get the what I like to call the OGs, the likes of me and yourself that have played them since the very first ones came out. they change something up that drastically, we're not going to enjoy it. Let's be honest. It's our baby, and if
No,
they mess with our baby,
but then saying that, when they made 7 and they made it first person, I thought that was probably the best thing that they ever did.
yeah, I think
Because still 7 to this day is like, if I had to say a top 5, it's probably 6. It's on the verge of being top 5 for me.
yeah,
Well,
100%.
7 was good. 7
Penguins
was,
have a game
and
in
7
the
had
following.
that fear factor, that eerie atmosphere to it, like the original RE did, but in first person. I always wanted to play that in VR. Never got around to doing it though.
Yeah, I'd like to play it in VR. I'm just a bit worried that I might, shit me kecks. But I think when they went from 6 to 7, it was kind of an earlier version of what we sort of touched on earlier about RE3 remake to RE4 remake. It was sort of saving grace. I think 7 kind of saved the franchise a little bit in some respects because like so many people had so many complaints with 6. And I'll hold my hands up, I'm one of them. I really did not enjoy 6. Can't play it on my own. A multiplayer game, maybe. If I'm playing it with somebody else and it's someone that I get on with, then yeah, I can tolerate it. But I'm never going to sit there and play through 6 on my own. There's just no chance.
I've only got 6 because I've got all of them. I don't collect physical media really, other than like old Dreamcast games and things. And I do collect the Resident Evil games. I've got all of the PS1 ones, etc., etc. And I only got 6 because my OCD in me couldn't go 1 to 5 and then 7 and 8. I had to have 6 on the shelf because otherwise, what's the point? I might as well just throw them in. Hey, Penguin Steve, welcome in, buddy. Nice to see you, dude. Sorry, I by the way, sorry, I promoted this in a couple of other Discords just to,
Oh, no, thank you very much.
Penguin Steve, he's a DJ on Twitch. He's a really good guy. So, but yeah, so no, yeah, man, 6 for me was just intolerable dog shit. Pardon the French. I absolutely hate it. Like to a point where if I didn't have all of them physically, I would probably take a shotgun to it and just shoot. I hate 6 with a passion. I can't stand it. I didn't when I streamed back in, I think it was 21. I did an RE marathon and I went 1, 2, 3. Then I was going to do 4, 5, and I stopped at 5. And everyone was like, I had a channel point on my channel for 1,000 or something like 10,000 that I'd play through RE6, and I thought no one's going to get that, so easy. Literally the day after I put that on there, some fucker came in and went, I'm going to redeem that RE6 playthrough. I went, you bastard. You bastard.
I think with stuff like that, you've got to be very careful what you set it at because there's always going to be somebody that is going to have a shitload of channel points, and especially if they know it's something that you don't want to do, they're going to redeem it just to take the piss out of you. Like Rain's just appeared there in chat. If I was to do something similar, I know that Rain has got a shitload of channel points in my channel, and I know that he's redeeming that shit just to wind me up. And I'd be very disappointed if he didn't.
to be fair, there was a lot of people I'd do that to. There was a lot of people where I'd just sit in their channel all day. I'd go to work, I'd put their channel on, they're like streamed all day or whatever, and I'd go to work and I'd come home and I would have accumulated like 3,000 points, and then I would just accumulate them. They were friends of mine, so it wasn't like I was trolling people. Just to fucking annoy the hell out of them. And it was even worse when they made me a mod because I'd refund all my points just to do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It was like, yep, just because I know how much this annoys you.
Do you know what? I can't lie. I've done similar in the past. People that I've modded for, like you say, friends of mine, not people that I'm just out and out going out of my way to annoy. And if I know something winds them up, I'm going to redeem it, I'm going to refund it, and I'm going to keep doing it.
You're right.
To the point where I've been threatened to have my mod ship taken away on numerous occasions.
That's what it's all about, though.
But I think it's one of those for me. For me, the people that I've got as mods, the people that I've known for a very long time on the platform, the people that I now consider to be friends, if they're not winding you up, they're doing something wrong. That's what we're all there for.
I'm a strong believer in real life is that if I'm not insulting you, I don't like you.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
If I'm comfortable enough to call you, I'm not going to say it because But all right, let's. If I'm going to call you a custard, and everyone in this chat, and you know exactly what I mean when I say custard, right? Yeah. If I'm not calling you a custard, but being a southerner, we have different tones of custard, yeah. So we can say it quite viciously, but generally it's an endearment down here, down in the south. It's lovely and it's endearment. You call someone a custard, and they're like, "Oh, thanks, mate." Um, it's only when you go. It's only when you go past the Watford Gap, yeah, and my nose starts bleeding because that's how southern I am, yeah. Um, it's almost like, yeah, that's when you don't really hear it said as often, and you can't tell whether it's an endearing thing. It's like Vince. I call Vince a muggy one, a muggy custard, don't I, Vince? It's an endearment. It's not an insult.
No, of course. Like you say, when it's used in context like that, when it's people that know each other, yeah. And again, I'll point back to people that people that have come into my channel, and I'll welcome them by insulting them. But that's because I get on with them so well. We have that sort of banter, that sort of relationship. I mean, you and I have probably done it to each other bloody countless times. It's just it's how you get on with people.
That's it. It's if I've always said that with people and their attitudes, it's like I've always said that if someone's got an issue with me, text me. And if they haven't got my number to text me, they don't know me well enough to have an issue with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to still call them a custard. It's still going to be a little bit more vicious though than calling
Yeah.
Vince a muggy custard. Yeah.
No, 100%. Just going back to RE, did you ever get around to playing Operation Raccoon City?
Nope. Oh no, I played it years ago when it first came out on the 360. I owned it on the 360.
See, that's another one.
I still own it on the 360, but I own it digitally now. It's one that I've just never got my head around, really. It's one that I've just gone. I can see what they were trying to do and the direction they were trying to take this game, but yeah, I mean, you can cover dog shit in sugar, but you can't call it a cake, can you? You can put Resident Evil in the title, but it's not going to be a brilliant game.
No,
That's
I
my
get
opinion.
that.
Yeah.
I was very much the same. Years back when I played it on the PS3, it seemed really strange, really thrown together. Couldn't really get my head around it. It's another one of those that I can easily play it with people. If I was playing it with even one other person or a group of people, which I did do recently. I played it a month or two ago. Played through it with a lad that I know called Jake, who again is a very good friend of mine, and we really enjoyed it. But it's never one that I'm going to sit there and play on my own simply because I don't want to. I don't enjoy the game on its own. And this one might not be an as popular opinion, but another one like that for me is Outbreak. I can't sit and play Outbreak on my own, but if there's a group of us,
I've never played it. I've never put any time into Outbreaks. Either of them. I think come PlayStation 2 era, I was playing more GTA, like Vice City, San Andreas. I was playing a lot more Pro Evo. I was playing a lot of racing games like Need for Speed and things like that. And because really, let's be honest, like for me, the only two mainstream games that came out on the PS2 were Code Veronica, which I already had on the Dreamcast at that point, and
yeah,
an RE4, which I didn't like. I didn't really stick. I didn't really go for the newer titles. I had the GameCube, which I had all of them on, like because they all came out on the GameCube, didn't they? Like 0, 1,
yeah.
2, and 3. But for me, it was just like I can't even really comment on Outbreak because I don't think I've ever really played it.
No, that's fair.
So I couldn't even tell you how good my thoughts on it because it's just one that I breezed past. Essentially, I just kind of didn't pay attention to it. I started getting back into fighting games a bit as well. So I was playing a lot of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat's and Tekken, especially on the PlayStation. I was playing a lot of Tekken, and
Hmm.
because fighting games are like they have a very soft spot in the heart. Fighting games do. But yeah, didn't really play Resident Evil on PS2. It wasn't until like PS3 and RE5 came out, and I bought RE5, and I was like, yeah, this is all right. It's not brilliant, but it's all right.
Yeah, I
It wasn't
think.
until I got my PC and then I got all of the older ones back on my PC. I was like, I found my love for Resident Evil again.
Yeah, I think it was very similar with me as well. When I was able to go back to playing the older ones, 1, 2, and 3 OG, I really threw myself back into Resident Evil as well. Um, I mean, for a while, I just stopped gaming. Um,
Yeah.
Probably more
What just
so when I met my son's mum, and I had other priorities, and just gaming wasn't really a big thing for me at that particular time. Um, and then like you say, we go into lockdown. There's not really anything else that I can do apart from work. So I picked up my console again. Um,
yeah.
at the time, I'm pretty sure I had all the originals on PlayStation 3. So when I wasn't streaming, I was playing the originals in my own time because I didn't have a PC at the time, so I couldn't stream them. Um, and here we are today. I just found my love for it again.
Yeah, I mean, again, PlayStation 2 era with the outbreaks, I kind of just, after I was playing Vice City and things because they were just fun to pick up and play. But I wasn't really gaming as much because I'd found drugs and alcohol. And,
Yeah.
because I was, 2000, so I would have been about 16. Yeah, year 2000, I was about 16, something like that, 16. And yeah, drugs and alcohol took over my life. And every weekend I was getting shit faced and high as a kite. So it was almost like, didn't really have time. I didn't really play video games. I'll tell you one game I did put so much time into in that era. Every Tuesday or Thursday, my mate would come round and we'd sit in my bedroom and we'd basically get pissed, eat pizza and smoke drugs and play World Championship snooker on the PS2. And we would play a full fledged 37 framed match, 35 game match, and we'd just sit there till like we'd start about 8 o'clock at night, we'd finish about 5 in the morning, and that'd be it. We'd be high as a kite, and you could tell because the scores in the earlier frames were like we'd do one, we'd get a 147, or we'd do 100 centuries, and then as the night went on and early hours, and the drunker and higher we got, it was like I won a frame by 20, 25. It was like, yeah, that's put so much. But yeah, that's what happens when you're 16. You just go, you go out in the wild world, and let's be honest, 2000s there weren't really social media. I think it was
Yeah.
MySpace. No one gave a shit about MySpace. And it was that era of being able to get up to absolutely no good and not have it photographed and plastered all over social media for everyone to see. So it was like, yeah, great
Yeah.
fun.
That, that's better. And I'd be lying if I said at a point in my life I wasn't similar. Like you say, you get to that age where you go out, you experience new things. I'm not saying everybody by any stretch because I know there's people out there that don't. But I feel like a lot of us discover alcohol. We go out, we like to do the whole party scene and whatnot. And I'll hold my hands up. I still every now and again, nowhere near to the same sort of degree as when I was a teenager, granted. But I still enjoy going out, having a good few beers, watching the football, playing some pool, throwing some darts. Um, I think we've all sort of had that experience at some point. You're not really into the things that you were when you were younger as much. Um,
Oh, I don't know, man. If someone offered me a joint right now, I'd quite happily sit there and smoke it. I haven't. I haven't. I'm 40 years old. I haven't smoked weed since I was 18. It's 22 years. I haven't smoked weed for. But
wow.
if someone offered me a joint right now, I would quite happily go out in the garden and toke away until my heart was content. I absolutely, I loved it, mate, and I ain't gonna deny it. I loved every single moment of that part. I didn't do any other drugs. Didn't do like the coke and the disco biscuits and things like that. I just did weed. Weed was was my go-to, and
Yeah.
it calmed me. And it was like because I was a real naughty fucker when I was a kid, like real naughty fucker. No, I would be the mate that everyone hated going out with, but the mate that everyone loved going out with.
Yeah.
Because once I went out, I was like a powder keg. It was like 50-50 whether I was going to explode or not. But if it did kick off, they wanted me there because I was the first person to stand in front of all of them. and
Yeah.
to tear up. I was an absolute fucking hooligan. And then I had my kids, and that just calmed me. Literally, I went from 100 to 0, and I was just like, "Boop, done, no more. I haven't had a fight since.
Yeah. Yeah, I
No,
think obviously.
haven't had a fight since. I don't get into trouble anymore. Don't. I just fucking stupid, to be honest.
Yeah, I
But
think having kids does that to you though, doesn't it? Like I can tell you right now, I'm a lot calmer than I used to be back in the day. Before my son was born. Um, you sort of realise that you have those. What's the word I'm looking for here? Responsibilities.
yeah,
It's not something you're going to
100%.
be going out doing when you've got kids. You've got other things that you need to be doing.
Is also why I gave up the weed because I'm like, not, kids come first. What good?
100%.
What good is their dad if his eyes are quiet on the sofa? Do you know what I mean? It's that. So gave it all up. That's it.
That's
Still enjoyed it. Still enjoyed a beer or two, but the older you get, the more damage my liver's getting.
well, that's the other side of it for me as well. I mean, I've just recently got. I say I've just got back into playing pool. I've just been dragged out of retirement. Again, I stopped playing pool when my son was born, just purely, if anything, based on the amount of money it was costing me. Got to a stage where I weren't really enjoying it as much as what I used to, and I thought, well, this money that I'm spending here, that I've got better purposes for it. I mean, thankfully now, I'm a lot financially better off than I was around about that time.
Yeah.
But back when I used to play before my son was born, I could easily. I used to play in two leagues, which was a Wednesday and a Thursday night. I could easily go to pool on a Wednesday night, get up for work on a Thursday, go to pool on a Thursday, get up for work on Friday, and go out all weekend and be fresh as a daisy on the Monday, and back at it. These days, I go out and I have a few too many. I feel like I require minor surgery or some shit. It's a lot harder to recover from than when I was a lot younger.
Yeah, totally agree, man. Totally agree. It's I mean, I've gone back to snooker. Funny enough, you saying, Paul?
I tried snooker, just the table's too big for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's a bit daunting to begin with, but yeah, I'm getting back into it. I'm not back to where I was, but I'm potting, so that's the main thing. No.
I think for me though, you'll get people that will try and claim, oh, pool, snooker, oh, it's the same thing, it's the same thing, and then no, they're entirely different games.
Oh, a lot of fun. That's like saying rugby and football are the same sport.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
completely different. I mean, you'll
you
know
know,
yourself, obviously, the table's different, the balls are different, the way you approach a game is totally different. You can't, if you need to play defensively, you're not going to play defensively in pool the same way that you would do in snooker, because it's, again, a totally different game.
pockets are smaller and bloody harder to potting.
Oh, God, yeah. I did try snooker for a bit. I signed on for the working man's club for about 4 weeks. I think the highest break I got to was about 20, and I just thought, no, this isn't my game. I mean, 20 is not. It's not awful.
20.
Not for.
No, it's not. It's not awful for an amateur man. Not a beginner. I mean, I'm still trying to get above 35 at the moment. That's my highest break. And everyone goes, oh, 35, that's really low score. And it's like, yeah, but when you think, it's like the red's 1 point.
Yeah.
So unless you're potting red, black, red, black, red, black, it's quite a few balls.
Well, even if you are going red black, you're talking a good 9 or 10 consecutive pots there to get to. What you're talking 8.
8 points,
Let me make sure
35.
I've got.
It's just under. It's about 8, 9, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, you pot 8 consecutive balls in a game of pool, you've won the frame. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you do at my level, yeah. So
when did you first start playing snooker?
about 10 years ago.
All right, and was that just is it just something you randomly got into? Is there a backstory?
It was something that I always used to play pool down the pub on a Saturday when we used to watch football. And I've always watched snooker. And my mate phoned me up one day and went, I'm going to go play snooker. Do you fancy coming? I went, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And then it spawned from there.
All right, fair enough. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The reason that I got into pool, kind of my dad, in a sense. So I used to go watching the football with my old fella. We'd go to the pub afterwards, and This one particular day, I'm getting in his ear. I'm saying, "Come on, have a game of pool." He's like, "Oh, I can't be asked." He's like, "Come on, have a game." "No, I can't be asked." And just kept badgering him to the point where he said, "Right, if it shuts you up, I'll have you a game." And he wiped the floor with me because my dad had been playing for a good few years at this point. And I
Yeah.
just remember one of his pals being stood at the bar, and he looks over and he just goes to me, "I'll tell you what, Liam, you really don't take after your dad at this game, do you?" And I don't know what it was because I've been told stuff like that countless times, and it's just water off a duck's back. But just for some reason, that stuck with me, and I was like, "Don't I? All right, well, you fucking watch me then." And I deliberately went out and learned how to play.
Yeah. It's the way it's done, man. It's the way it's done. It's the way it's done. I mean, I'm still getting to grips with it. The problem is, it's like it's the time to play. Obviously,
Yeah,
I've got quite a pressured job, and it's just finding that time to get over because it's same as golf. You only get good at golf by practice and consistency. Of practice, and it's like if you have 2-3 weeks away from golf, you swings, it's going to affect you. And it's same with snooker. You have a couple of weeks away from snooker, and all of a sudden it's like trying to get back,
yeah,
trying to get back into that and muscle memory and all of that. So you know, yeah, for me it's a nice outlet. I go the clubs are 24-hour clubs, so I can go over there any time of night. There's some days where I don't sleep. I'm not a very good sleeper. So I'll head over there about 11, half 11 at night, play for a few hours, and then go back home and then go to sleep.
hmm.
Job done.
Yeah. Sort of same as to why it took me so long to get back into the pool. Like you say, between work, home life, and stuff like that. I don't have anywhere near the same amount of time on my hands as what I used to. And it's been the same with streaming. Back 2 years ago, I think I was streaming. It wasn't uncommon for me to go through a week and stream every single day.
Yeah,
And in a month, if I did 24 streams, that was probably considered a quiet month. But I had the time on my hands. The job that I was working at the time wasn't exactly what you'd call high pressured, and the hours weren't awful.
mm,
It was supposed to be a 9-5, but regularly we'd be told 2:30, 3 o'clock. I'll get yourselves off for the day, paid for the day, like, so none of us were ever complaining about it. Um, Whereas now, I work 10-hour days, Monday to Thursday. It takes me about an hour each way to travel, so I'm out of the house 13, 14 hours.
yeah.
Um, and obviously you get to a point where, like, sometimes after a day like that, I get in and I just can't be asked. I just want to get something to eat, put put my feet up, chill out. It's not uncommon that I'll come home, eat, and I'm straight in bed because I'm bollocks.
Well, to be honest, I mean, I streamed during lockdown, which was great because I was furloughed for 9 months, so I had all the time in the world, and I was doing 3, 4 streams a week, and hitting very consistent numbers, and I, building communities and being part of other communities, and really networking and socializing and making friends and stuff. And then it just got to the point for me where I was like, I ain't got time to do this. But then I'm getting messages like people saying, "Oh, you streaming tonight? You streaming tonight?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'll stream tonight." Because like I used to stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday mornings, and Sunday nights.
Hmm.
And it just got to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's doing my nutting. And I wasn't putting the same energy into it as I had been. And I think that people could tell that because numbers started dropping, and I was never one for the numbers anyway. I was never one constantly looking at numbers and thinking, "Oh God, I'm 10 viewers. Oh, I've got to get to 50." I've never been like that because it's like, I was always just like, this is just a bit of fun for me. It
Yeah,
wasn't I wasn't, but I think subliminally my mind has started taking it a bit more seriously, maybe because of the little success that I was getting. And I say little success, let's be honest. If you're averaging 10 to 15 viewers, you're what in your top? You're in the top 10% of Twitch. And I just got to the point. I just burnt out on it. I went through a bit of shit in my life, quite a lot of shit actually. And some of the people that I actually generally thought, and I'd met up in real life with, there was a group of us. I'm not going to name any names, but there was 4 of us. And I drove all the way out to fucking Norwich, like from where I live. That's 2.5 hour drive.
yeah.
Me and my mate who I met on Twitch, who actually, funny enough, lives like 2 minutes down the road from me, which I didn't know. Crazy. Um, I'd jump in the car, we'd drive up Norwich, we'd hang out with the other two all day and shit, and it was like, yeah, we generally were good mates, and they ended up just being a piece of shit, man, absolute piece of shit, lying, two-faced, all about themselves, all about numbers, all about this, all about that, and I just and they basically tried to throw one out of the four, one guy tried to throw the other guy under the bus with two of us, then throw us two down south under the bus with him, and it was like called him out on a Discord call, absolutely fucking rinsed the guy, had evidence that he was lying, backstabbing us, lying behind our backs, like stirring up shit all the time, and I just, you know what, at that point I go, I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
I've had enough of this. I think that was my excuse just to go, fuck it, I'm done. Literally just wash my hands. And I kept my account going for a little while. And then in the end, I just went, fuck this, I'm going to delete it. And I had I think when I, at deletion, I had about 800 followers. I was averaging, I don't know, about 10 people in my stream. I built a really good community. I just turned my back on it all. I just went, my sanity and happiness is more important to this, and I just fucking walked away, deleted the lot, deleted everything, deleted Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, everything. I left every Discord I was in, and I just 6 months, nothing, just me. That was it.
Yeah, and situations like that, you've got to put yourself first.
Yeah, exactly. I did lose a lot of connections and people that I'd got to know, like Vince. I always enjoyed. I got. I always got to know. I got to know Vince. I got to know you, Liam. And I just turned my back on everything. Just walked away from everything.
Yeah, like I said, in a situation like that, it's no surprise. And again, without naming any names, I've been through a similar experience in the past where, people or persons or whatever, however you want to phrase it, people that I thought were genuine friends, people that I would be friends with for a very, very long time. And all of a sudden, you start seeing different sides to people, and start trying to push their agenda onto you, expecting that because they believe that the sky's red, you're going to say that the sky's red. And that's, I've never been about that. Do you know what I mean? I've always been my own person, especially when it comes to other people. If somebody comes to me and says, oh, there's this person out there and they're X, Y, and Z, I always take that with a pinch of salt. Because if someone's going around saying things like that, they've got a reason for it. Do you know what I mean? They've got an end game.
Yeah, and this guy in particular, I mean, he literally blatantly to our face went, no, I didn't say that. And then all three of us just went, well, what's this then? You said this last night in someone else's stream. It's like, come on, man. If you're gonna lie, fucking, if you're gonna lie to our face, at least make sure we've got no. And he got to the point where he was so blasé about it, and he was just literally like, fucking, he was like, oh, well, I'll tell people what I want to tell them. I said, no, not about me, you won't.
Yeah.
Like, well, I will. I was like, no, you fucking won't. You tell people the truth. I'm not having you back. And he put me in that position that brought the older me out in me, the more aggressive me, because I threatened to break his legs.
Yeah.
And then he stopped. It sounds really bad, doesn't it? I threatened to break his legs. But he was bringing that much anger out in me. And the other two as well. Even the other two were feeling that as well. And he was like, and I just sat there and I thought, what was your whole agenda about this? What was, It's like, you invite us around your house. I drive 2.5 miles, 250 miles to go to your house. We chill out, we play some games, and then you treat us all like dog shit. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Are you having a bubble? And it's. Yeah, I just, I mean, I was going through a lot of things in my private life, like loss of a family member and stuff, and furlough and all that shit. Because furlough had a bigger impact on me than the 9 months that I had off work. And everyone goes, oh, you had 9 months off work paid. It's like, no, I didn't. No, I lost 17 grand's worth of salary that year.
Yeah.
Because my company literally I mean, I wish I'd known about it because I would have put some lipstick on before they fucked me. You know, just so I looked pretty. It was it was like they stripped us of our bonus,
Yeah.
and mate, it was like the money was still rolling in from our customers, and the customers that I had put in place that was spending that money, but they just, and I was like 17 grand. What the fuck? How am I going to recoup this? Because you live to a lifestyle, didn't you? You live to your salary lifestyle.
Of course you do.
And it's like, 17 grand. It's like fucking, it's like, it was a huge chunk of change. And at the time, the missus was only part time because she's been part time a lot of her life because of the kids and being home from school, like school runs and stuff. And I had all that shit going on. Then I had to deal with this stupid fucking idiot that I'd met on Twitch dealing all this crap. And I was just like, do you know what? I'm done. Fuck it. And that's why I just went, no, I'm done. I need to just take a break from everything. And my problem is, I'm one of these people where if I'd left the account there, I would have carried on streaming and I wouldn't have taken that break. That's why I deleted it. I just went, yep, bang, deleted it.
Yeah.
Gone. Had no intentions to stream on Twitch ever again. Had
Yeah.
no intentions to come back to Twitch.
I think the only thing different with when it happened to me was the fact that I always intended on coming back at some point, and I didn't take, in the grand scheme of things, I didn't take too much time off. I think it took about a month, maybe 5 weeks or something like that. But for me, it was more of a case of like, because these were people that I trusted so much, I'm then wondering, if these guys can turn around and stab me in the back like this, then who can't? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there anyone that I can actually trust?
And that's it, man. And I felt exactly the same way with this guy because I'd got to know him over like 2 years. It weren't just like, I met someone on Twitch and it's like, oh yeah, we become friends. And it was like, oh yeah, no, I'd known the guy for 2 years. Yeah. And it was just like, I don't like it. I don't like people. I don't like snakes. I don't like fucking snake in the grasses, I tell you. It's like I said to you, if you've got an issue with me, call me out on it. Because guess what? If I've got an issue with you, you're getting called out. I don't care if it offends you or not. You're getting called out. If I've got a problem, you're being told about it. Yeah. I don't lie. I don't shit stir. I don't backstab. I'm literally like, if I've got a problem with someone, I'll tell it to their face. I won't go to their mate or their friends no. It's like, oh, you got a problem with that person? I've got to have a chat with him. Yeah. I wouldn't even say, yeah, I have got a problem with him. He done this, he done that. Like at the time. It's all obviously now I can talk about it because it's all dead in water. It happened in 2022, I believe. Can't remember.
Yeah.
It's been that fucking long ago. But
you know what though? What happened to the days where things like that were the norm? Where, if you've got an issue with somebody, you don't go around and start trying to turn other people against them or start slagging them off to people that they're friends with. You just speak to them about it. You have it out between the two of you.
I think the problem with Twitch is, man, is that, and I'm not including everyone in this because there are some really, really decent people on Twitch. Like yourself, like Vince, like most of the people probably in your chat right now. Yeah. The problem you've got is that, and I noticed this at the very start of lockdown when you got all the lockdown streamers, is that they all thought they were going to be the next Ninja.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, everyone could. I'm not saying that you're shit at streaming and you're like, because I'm so much better. I'm not saying that, but I didn't go into this thinking that I'm going to be the next Ninja because I know it's almost like being the next Cristiano Ronaldo. The limitations are, there's more walls to jump over,
Yeah.
There's more walls to jump over to become a professional footballer. It's the same as streaming. You're not just going to set up a streaming setup and then have 1,000 people in your chat room talking to you and dropping your subs and doing this and doing that. It's not going to happen. It is a slog. It is a grind.
100%.
And I think people that came into it as lockdown streamers and only for lockdown. Yeah, I'm only going to add. I'm going to add that because I don't want that. I don't want to generalize the people that have discovered streaming in lockdown and then have carried on with it and grown and done a really good job. I mean the absolute lockdown streamers, the guys that had a PS4 and went, oh, yeah, do you know what? I'm just going to stream and see what happens. I want to be there. I think a lot of people got above their stations and a lot of people were like thinking they were this person that they weren't, and they act up to the camera and they think they have to act a certain way. And I think it brings. I've always been a person that will sit there, and if I'm streaming and I've got 3 people, and for example you're streaming, you got 25 people, I'm like, fucking fair play, man, well done, cracking job.
Yeah.
I don't care. But you get people that get jealous. They go, what's he doing? Why is he on 25 and I'm only on 3? Because let's be honest, yeah, right? A lot of people have that mentality of viewership. Like, more viewers makes more success, right? And it's almost like those people that have got that really narrow mind about it and they're all out for themselves, they're the people. And I think there's more of them on Twitch than there are decent people.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I say that, to be fair. Because I think, you know, if you break it down, if you go into some of these people's communities, certain people's communities, you can see it already. You can see it in the chat room. They're not cool. They're not, you know, they're not just hanging out. They're not. I always find there's an ultimatum somewhere down the line. And there you go. Jaded Phoenix completely agrees.
Yeah. And
so I'm not the only one that thinks it. It's the same as yourself. It's just, and to be honest, with lockdown, I was watching Twitch prior to lockdown because I used to watch a lot of Call of Duty. So I used to do like competitions for Call of Duty, and me and a couple of mates that I knew, we used to do like game battles and things and enter competitions with like prize money and stuff. And when we used to watch Twitch, it was great. It was great. You'd go into someone's stream and it'd just be like you were there to watch that person play COD or whatever, and you had you know, and then it was just like, I don't know, fucking people on Twitch, man, they just got to the point where it was like you got to know someone and you felt like you got to know them. And then they would just stab you in the back. And in fact, Mr. Cybernator UK will back me on this as well, because he's actually the guy who lives up the road from me. All right, Cyber.
No,
and also, Cyber is a massive custard, by the way, everyone. So, you know, please call him a massive custard in chat.
But no, like you said, I don't think there's a single word that you've just said there that I disagree with. And you know, I know for a fact there's people that have been on the platform the same time as me, people that have been on the platform less time than me, that have got more successful channels than what I have. You know, they've got a lot more followers, they have a lot more concurrent viewers. And like you say, you know, fucking good luck to them. You know, I'm happy for you. You know, if you're doing what you want to do and you're enjoying yourself, brilliant. But I'm never the type that's going to sit there and be like, well, that's what I want. You know, and I'll hold my hands up. And at a point while I've been streaming, I was that guy that, you know, I wanted more viewers, I wanted more subscribers. You know, I felt like that's what I needed to make me feel like what I was doing was a success. It wasn't a waste of time. Whereas now, you know, the people that I speak to on a regular basis, you know, the likes of yourself, we've got Rain in the chat there, we've got Vince, we've got Jaded, you know, it's people that I've actually built relationships with to a point now where, prime example, I think it was Wednesday night, Jaded was live. Now, I've only known Jaded for, I'd say, a short period, 2 months, maybe 3 months tops. But, you know, we really get along, we speak quite often. And I was in her chat on Wednesday. I had no fucking idea what she was playing. Like, this game that she was on, I had no idea what was going on. I was there because, you know, obviously she's a friend. And I wanted to go and support my friend. And that, for me, is, if I've got 8 people in my chat that see me the same way, I would much prefer that than having 35 people that ain't got a fucking clue who I am or what I'm about. Do you know what I mean? Like, loyalty for me is a massive thing, and I value that so much more now than just numbers.
Well, the thing is, it boils down to this, right? Yeah, you can have, it's always the old, going back to lockdown, and you had all that follow for follow bullshit going on.
Yeah.
Follow for follow, sport for sport, and all that crap. It's like someone's like boosting their followers up. Oh, I've got 1,000 followers. Yeah, but how many people are watching you? Well, it's just me.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what I mean? What was your goal? And this is what I ask people. I know I use this in business, right? What is my goal, and what do I want to achieve before I walk into a meeting or before I join a company or whatever? You know, my goal for streaming back then was just to meet because I I'd fallen out with a few friends, not fallen out with them, but just grew apart from them that I used to play COD with. They
Yeah.
started taking it far too seriously, and it was just like, nah, lads, this is too much now. I wasn't in it for the money. Didn't care about the money. Didn't
Yeah.
care if you subbed to me. I didn't care if people fucking dropped me bits. I didn't care about any of that. I just wanted to meet like-minded people and play video games with. That's all I
Yeah.
wanted to do. Talk to people in Discord and just like-minded, because gaming is one of probably my biggest passion in life, and it's like I just want to meet like-minded people that play video games with, or just talk about video games. You know what I mean? Because I don't have that really in my personal life, because a lot of my friends are into other stuff. They're not into video games, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, that's all I wanted. And I did. I met some really cool people. And I still talk to those really cool people. Now I do, after my hiatus off Twitch. And I've come back and decided to give streaming a go again, but on my terms, not as intense as what I was putting myself under pressure. Because, yeah, again, I then went into this weird mode where I thought, like, I needed to keep the level of viewers up to warrant being, it's a weird one. I had to keep that level of streaming going to keep people interested to talk to me, because I felt it got to a point where I actually felt, well, they're only talking to me because I'm streaming. That's and that's when I kind of, and funny enough, it kind of makes sense, because only a handful of people I still talk to from those days, still talk to me. Everyone else doesn't. Weird that way, isn't it? So I kind of was proven right. And then that goes back to my original statement that people are only in it for themselves, and they will screw you hand over fist to get where they want to get to. Where that wasn't me. I just wanted to meet, if the fat custard hadn't screwed at me and Cyber, for example, I may not have been streaming, but I still would have been talking to him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%.
And that's all. That was my goal. That was my mission. So I've decided to come back to Twitch. I've decided to start streaming again, but instead of doing it 3 times a week, I'm literally maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, basically whenever I feel like it. I'm not going to put any pressure. I'm not going to put any pressure on myself, and I'm certainly not going to cave. I mean, I have ruined possibly one of my most anticipated video games of my adult life through Twitch. I have been waiting for a Final Fantasy VII remake since I completed the original. It's like, since the consoles went on from the PS1, I was like, as soon as it got to like PS3, I was like, why don't I just make a remake of the Final Fantasy VII? That'd be amazing. I love this game. It's one of my favorite fucking games of all time. And I didn't want to play it on stream, but I did, like an idiot. And then everyone was like, "Oh no, you can't play it. You got to wait till the next stream." And I'm like, "No, I just really want to play this game." Like, and it ruined it for me, like to a point where I was like, I foolishly listened to people, and it was like that ruined that game for me. And I'm still yet to go back through it properly.
Yeah.
So now it's like, I am looking forward to the second part. I probably will get the second part. But like, fuck, am I going to be putting that on stream? I'm going to be like, nah, bruv, sorry. That's mine. That's my little thing. I'm going to be playing it off stream, and I'm going to be taking my time with that shit. And if I want to play it for 6 hours a night, I'm going to play it for 6 hours a night regardless. Because I was only streaming every other day. I kind of like played it Tuesday for 2 hours, because I normally stream for about 2.5 hours. Then I couldn't play it Wednesday because, yet again, I was streaming on Thursday. And then come Thursday, if I wasn't streaming Sunday, I'd have to wait until Tuesday. And it was like, and I had it in my head that I can't really let people down, because people want to watch me play this, because people want to see what happens in the game. It's almost like storytelling, and it ruined it for me. Absolutely fucking ruined it for me. And I'm stupid. I'm absolutely stupid to have allowed that to happen. But hey, it doesn't matter. People get caught up in it. People get caught up in this bullshit. So no, I do plan to come back streaming, but it is going to be as and when. And to be fair, I might just stream retro games, man, because I love my emulation. I love playing retro games. One game that I particularly am a massive fan of is Outrun, and I just love that game. And like the old RE games, like like N64 games and PS2 games and things like that. I just love that. There's no new games that are coming out other than Final Fantasy 7 Part 2 Rebirth, whatever it's called. I'm looking forward to Tekken 8. I know Tekken 8 has just come out, but I'm not going to buy that straight away because I'm not paying 70 quid for a game that might not get played a lot. But that's really the only game I can see in the next 6 months that I really want to play.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, if I'm going to stream again, which I do plan to, it's going to be retro stuff, man, or it's just going to be like games that I can pick up, like watching Vincent's Doom Eternal ones. I love Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal is one of my favourite Doom games, and I've got it. I was considering streaming it because I've streamed that. I actually streamed and completed it on stream, like the prior. That was the second game that I streamed after Resident Evil 3 remake back in the day.
Yeah.
And I just pick up games that I can pick up and play and complete in a few hours. That's kind of what I'm looking for in streaming, just so I can, like, just tick it off. But obviously play games that I want to play, not just because people are screaming at me to play it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's...
If people, don't get me wrong though, if people are saying you should play this game because it's really good,
Yeah.
I'm not going to just go, fuck it, dismiss you. I'm going to say, yeah, okay, let's give it a go. But if it's something like Final Fantasy Rebirth, I'll be like, nah, I'll play that, but it's off stream, guys. Sorry, simple as that. Doom isn't hard. Doom isn't hard, Vince. Doom Eternal's piece of this. What are you talking about?
I think it's a very easy sort of mistake to make sometimes, though, is this feeling of obligation. You end up doing things just because you feel like you should do. You have to, because it's what people expect of you. Very similar to when I used to speedrun. It got to a stage for me with speedrunning where I felt like I actually couldn't do anything else, because I'd go on and I'd try and play something different, try and play something casually, and a lot of the time my chat was, when are you next running this one? When are you next running that one? When are you going to go for the PB on this one? And I just ended up going back to speedrunning because I felt that that's what people wanted to see. And somewhat ironically, with the fact that you mentioned Final Fantasy there, is that's one that I very rarely play on stream. I think I've done Final Fantasy X, purely because I've played that on stream before. I think that was actually my first 24-hour stream. So my first 24 hours back when I was streaming directly from console. And anyone in the chat there will know, when you stream from console, if you want to change game, it interrupts your stream. You have to end stream and then you have to rebroadcast yourself. So I went with Final Fantasy X purely because I knew I was getting 24 hours worth of content out of it. And I think the only other one that I've played on stream was a mod of Final Fantasy VIII that was recommended to me by a friend of mine, Lewis, called Final Fantasy VIII Crystal. And that was because I was going through a spell of playing mods, at the time on stream. So I thought, I'll give that one a go. But then if I'm going to play, like you say, if we use Final Fantasy VII there as the prime example, if I'm going to play that, because I know how much I enjoy that game, and, I know what Final Fantasy can be like for people coming in telling you how to play, that's something I'm playing in my own time. That's me, that's my thing, that's something for Liam. It's not the Mancunian Nightmare, do you know what I mean? That's mine. But I think when you get to that stage, though, like when you're doing things just purely out of obligation, it gets to a point where people can tell. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know full well that if I'm streaming and I'm not feeling it, I know people can tell. So that's why, as you've just rightly said there, then now, if I get home from work, regardless of if I've said, let's say I say I'm going to stream on Wednesday, and then I go to work Wednesday, it's a really long day, I've had a tough session at the gym, come home and I can't be asked, I'm not going to hit that go live button just because I feel like I have to, because if I'm going to do it, I want to fucking enjoy it as well, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and that's how it should be. But unfortunately, I got myself in with the wrong people in the wrong communities, I think, and it was almost, you kind of just, like you say, you feel obligated to do it. But I mean, to be honest, like I said, this is a complete new account. I've barely got any followers because I deleted my account, started from zero, and it's liberating, really liberating, because now it's almost like, and pardon the French, but I get rid of all the fucking dross,
Yeah.
all the people that fucking followed me that was just like, that I don't want to associate with because you're all backstabbing little custards.
Yeah.
I ain't got fucking time for it. It's like, nah, I'll just start fresh. I say start fresh. I'm using the same logo and all the same shit, but that's because it's all, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered to change any of it, but that's just me being lazy. But no, it's like it's liberating, and there's no affiliation. I'm not gunning for affiliation when I come streaming again. It's just, yeah, I don't care. I just want to stream. I just want to when I've sitting, because I don't really watch telly either. Like, telly doesn't really interest me anymore. I'd rather sit there and watch a film than watch telly. There's nothing on telly that sort of tickles my pickle. So, for me, it's just like, if I'm sitting here on my own at my PC or playing the PlayStation or something, fuck it, throw a stream on, bang, here you go.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the attitude I'm taking with it. I'm not taking this whole, that's. And don't get me wrong, I'm not having a go at anyone. Don't take this the wrong way, especially the people in chat. If, I know there's streamers in the chat there, and I'm not taking it. I'm not having a dig at anyone for working hard towards building a channel. I take my hat off to anyone who tries it because it's tough, it's hard, and I'd say fair play to anyone. For me though, coming back, not for me anymore. That's it. It's not for me. I don't want to go back down that route because I know I know the way it's going to turn out. I'm going to end up getting the ump again.
Yeah.
I'm going to end up putting myself in a position where I'm like, I fucking had enough of this already. I've had enough of this. This was supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun, and yeah, I'm just going to fuck it on its head now.
Yeah, and exactly the same way as what you've just said there. Like when I was doing things through an obligation and whatnot, and then the people that I thought were friends did what they did and things like that. I know the path that it took me down, and I know where I ended up, and I'm never going to allow myself to end up there again. So, exactly as you say, if I come home and I fancy doing a stream, I'm going to fucking stream, and I'll play whatever I want to play. And like you rightly said, if someone wants to come in and make a suggestion for me, and try this out, try that out, more than happy to give it a go. But then I'm not going to do it just because I feel like I have to. If I don't want to do it, if I try it and I don't like it, I'm just going to say, listen, this is it for me.
The thing is, let's be honest as well, right? Yeah, I'm quite outspoken, right? I don't mince my words, right? I swear like a fucking trooper, right? And, my favourite word begins with C and ends with unt, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it's almost like there are too many people that will get offended on Twitch. This is the problem as well. Yeah. And I'm not toxic. I'm not rude. It's just me. It's just me. Take it or leave it, and that's what I like. I would like to sit there and think when I do stream again and people come in, that they're like-minded people that have got the same sort of outspokenness about them. Because guess what? I'm not perfect, and I'm more than happily to take criticism. Yeah, right. I don't give a fuck. You can call me whatever it is. If it's justified, then hey, if you're shit at this game, yep, totally agree. You're not offending me, mate. I know I'm shit at this game. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
I'm not one of these people that where if someone sat there and said, and that's just a very light, minimal comment. Oh, you're shit at this game. Yeah, I'm not going to get offended by that person. I'm not going to sit there and ban him from my chat. I'm not going to sit there and get all umpty about it and start going on a witch hunt to get him banned and his IP address. It's just like, all right, it's your opinion. That's cool, man. I respect it. It's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Obviously, if they came in and started being incredibly like racist or homophobic or something like that, I'd be like, nah, bruv, look, this ain't the place. Just fuck off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, just find people that are just happy to have abuse. Like, going back to Mr. Cyber UK in the Cybernator UK in the chat there. I can't remember a day that I've spoken to him on the phone in the last 2 years where I haven't called him a custard. You know, and he calls me one, and that's it. It's like, that's banter. But the problem is there are too many backstabbers on this platform that take the banter and they turn it and they flip it around and then they become the victim. And it just does my name. So that's a different story for a different day.
No, 100%. So I completely lost my train of thought.
Right, man. That's all right.
I feel like I was going to say something and then the words just didn't come. It's agreed.
Yeah, I have that effect on people sometimes.
But yeah, I think it's. I think what really gets me is those type of people. You know, the ones that want to come in and, you know, they'll hear you say something and then they'll take the oomph with you, and it's all they're all offended by it and all that kind of shit. But then they have to go out and make a big deal out of it. I mean, if someone comes to me, let's say for example, someone was to come to me. In fact, I had a very similar situation recently. To be fair, again, not to use any names, but let's say somebody comes into my chat and says, "Oh well, I was just in Big Macca's chat and I don't like what he was saying, or I don't like the way he was coming across." Then I'm just like, "Well, don't fucking go in there." Like it's not difficult. Do you know what I mean? If you don't enjoy the dynamic in a place, don't go into it. Don't then just continue going back and making yourself out to be a victim because you're offended by something when you know that that's what you're going to be subjected to.
I hate Tottenham. I hate Tottenham Hotspurs. I can't stand Tottenham. Being an Arsenal fan, I can't stand Tottenham, so I don't watch Tottenham on the telly, and I don't go to Tottenham and watch them play football because I don't like them. There you go.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna breeze it around the internet by going, oh, you know, right. I don't like prawns. I'm not going to eat them.
exactly.
You know?
I don't think you can put it any better than that.
You know, I don't like the guy down at Pizza Hut because the manager down is a fucking idiot. So I don't buy from Pizza Hut. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it really is. You literally, you can't put it any more basic than that. You know, if you don't like something, don't fucking do it. Don't be around it. You know, at the end of the day, you've got the capability to make that decision. You know, you don't want to be around something, don't be around it. I'm not going to fucking do something I don't enjoy doing. But then if, you know, let's say I happen across a channel, you know, I'm watching somebody and they raid out to someone else and I don't like that person. Well, I just don't go back. I don't then go to the person that raided them to say, oh, well, I don't like this person because they did this and they did that. Because that's just my fucking opinion, do you know what I mean? And it's, who am I then to try and instill my opinion onto somebody else? We've all got our own minds.
Yeah. Don't piss in my glass and call it and tell me it's apple juice. Just tell me what it is, you know.
Don't get me wrong, I know what you're like and I know the way that you'll just come out with statements like that, but it just fucking tickles me when you do. It's brilliant.
It's a 16-year career in sales, mate. That's what it is. I don't fuck around. It's you got something to say it. You don't, keep your mouth shut. Simple as that.
Do you know?
Don't cover dog shit in sugar and call it a cake. Yeah.
100%. Do you know what's really funny? Because obviously you and I have known each other for a few years now, and I never knew that we was in the same trade. I'm all right. Probably completely different products, but I've been in sales for.
What do you sell?
At the moment now, I'm actually working in debt management. So the easiest way to put it is we offer people debt management plans. You know, people that have got. Hey.
Sorry, that's the dog going off. I'm going to mute you while he's barking. You carry on talking.
Yeah, so basically, you know, people will come to us with uncontrollable debt. You know, they've built up a load of credit card debt and a load of loans, and they just can't keep on top of it anymore. So we'll put them on a debt program that, you know, gives them a timescale to be out of debt, makes it a lot easier for them. So to be honest with you, it's easy, but in some breaths it's not. Because it's something that people are actually coming to us for. You know, we're not necessarily having to go out and advertise it. The only sort of challenge that we come across is because of how they've lived their lives, you know, constantly taking out credit to to pay for credit. You know, they're sort of stuck in that loop. So then they're coming to us wanting a loan to pay everything off and can't understand. You know, it's then we've got to get it through to them why that's not the best idea. Do you know what I mean? Like, look, that's what you've been doing for the last 5 years. It's getting worse and worse. You know, something's got to change. This is what I'm going to do differently for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So selling, but totally different industries. I'm a specification manager for a flat roof waterproofing manufacturer in the UK. So I go up on roofs and specify a product and work with the designers and the architects to make sure that my product gets put on that roof and waterproofs it.
Yeah.
So we were involved with like a lot of big projects, Battersea Power Plant in London, the Excel Centre in London. Yeah, just name a couple. So yeah, so I do that. But prior to that, I've always worked in the building trade, selling building products, and prior to that, I was selling underground drainage. So, which is quite an easy job to be fair, because you sit down with a contractor and you say, right, you got to take shit from because it was all underground drainage, yeah. So it's foul waste, yeah. So you got to take shit from point A to point B. How are we going to do that? Let's connect the dots in the middle, right? It was a shit job because it was always dealing with like fucking ground workers knee deep in shit in a trench, stinking of shit, and in a suit. And it's like, yeah, I've had enough of this. So I went up on the roofs instead, which is kind of ironic because I'm scared of heights. So it's like, so what? Now I go up into big high-rise buildings and stand on their roofs in London, and I'm scared of heights. So instead of smelling like shit and have knees deep in shit, I'm standing on a roof petrified that I'm gonna fucking fall off it. So, but yeah, it's 16 years doing that. You build up a very thick skin, in sales, like to a point where, ooh, you know, no, but Cosmo, funny enough, you say that. So me and the wife went to Italy for my 40th birthday in December, right? And we're walking through the Palatine Arena by the Colosseum. You know, it stood for thousands of years, right? This is where Caesar's buried. This is where the Romans and a fucking pigeon shit on me. Oh, and the wife as well. And I just sat and I tell you what, Italian shit. You could tell that the pigeon had flown past and gone above Fangola and just shit all over me or something. It's like, come on, man. I've walked around London. And I've worked in London pretty much for the last 16 years, and I've never been shit on by a London pigeon. There's millions of them. I go to Italy. I'm in this really nice, beautiful place. Stood for 2,000 years in one of the most beautiful countries in the world, and a fucking pigeon hits me out of everyone. I'm like, you bastard. You bastard. Luckily, I had a body warmer on, and it was the shell type, so I could just wipe it off. But I'm like, you little bastard, you.
It's good luck, though. Yeah, well, I bet it don't feel like it at the time.
No. Oh, yeah, good luck. Yeah. And I come back from Italy, and I've got high blood pressure and a fucking failing liver. Yeah, hi. Thanks, Mr. Pigeon.
Right. I've just noticed the time, so I'm going to have to start wrapping things up because, as I'm sure, like yourself, back at it in the morning. Before we go though, I didn't actually know that you were close to London. So just as a
yes, mate. I'm Junction 8 of the M1.
Welcome.
Junction 1 is obviously the M1. It is London. Following. And or if you want, I'm on the London Midland service where it's about 30 minutes into London Euston, or 45 minutes out of Birmingham. So.
No, well, no, I only mentioned because I'm hoping to be going to London I expect it'll be May time, possibly June, and that's only because I've always said, big old athletic fan, God knows why, because after the shitstorm that I went and watched last week, I've got no desire to go for a long time.
I'd take my hat off to the lower leagues, though, man. I'd take my hat off to you lower league supporters because I can support a lower league. I can support a lower league team.
it's not easy to do, especially like I say with the when you go in. And I think the problem last week was it was FA Trophy, and we were playing a team that were like two divisions below us. Um, Hendon, they were called. I think they're from sort of near London kind of way.
Hendon is,
Um,
man. Hendon is London, basically. It's northwest 3, I think, something
yeah,
like that.
we played Hendon at home, and it seemed like a lot of our guys. I mean, Mellon, the Oldham's manager, he he sort of changed the squad quite a bit. He gave a couple of the fringe players a chance. And,
Yeah,
you know, credit to him, he's come out afterwards and said, look, I thought it was a perfect opportunity to give, you know, some of the sort of fringer players a chance to prove what they can do in the side, and it's not worked. So, you know, that's my mistake. I'll hold my hands up. But it seemed like a lot of them just expected to just have to turn up. Um, and it was just fucking awful. But obviously that's cup. They're doing quite well in the league, so I've already got an agreement with my dad. If we make the playoffs this year and we get to Wembley, we are going, because I've never actually been to London, and I've always said the first time I go to London, I want it to be watching Oldham.
you've
And
never been to London.
never been. The closest I came was
You
2019.
ain't missing much.
Well, the closest we came was 2019. We drew Fulham away in the FA Cup. Um, and there was a group of us going to go down. One of the lads was going to drive. We said we'd fill the car, you know, we'll all pay for the petrol and whatnot if he drives us and brings us home. And everyone backed out. There was only me and my dad that still wanted to go. And we were gutted because we actually beat them. You know, Fulham were in the Premier League at the time. We were in League Two. And we went down to Craven Cottage and knocked them out of the FA Cup. So we were gutted about that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, London's all right. I don't mind it. I work there. I don't see it like everyone else does. Like, you know, especially like yourself, who's never been like the whole tourist attract. I don't see all that shit because I drive past it most days. Or
Yeah.
I have done in my career, and it's like, but one thing I do respect you for, being an Oldham fan and being from that part of the world, is that you don't support Man United, Man City, or Liverpool. That's what I respect you more for.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in Manchester, you support City. You don't support United. It's every fucker around Manchester that supports United. Um, and that you don't support Liverpool. Other than that, it's like, yeah, totally. I respect you for that, just alone.
Well, like I say, you know, I think where I live, it's probably the closest ground to me locally. I was born in Oldham Hospital, so I was born literally. I think the hospital is about two, maybe 300 yards away from the ground. You know,
Yeah,
it was decided for me. Do you know what I mean? I didn't
yeah.
really have much of
Well,
a
you
choice.
you say that. I was born in Hemel, and Hemel has a football team, but the owner called Dave Boggins, he's a complete custard. Like proper, he looks like a leprechaun. Literally, he looks like the leprechaun from the film, The Leprechaun, the horror film, and he probably walks around. And he's like, I used to do a bit of security work on the side, like especially after furlough when they took all my fucking money off me, right?
Yeah.
So I did a bit. So I was head security up at Hemel Football Club, and he used to be like, "Hey, you there? What the fuck are you doing there? Hey, you fucker, get the fuck back out there, you fucking fucking." And I'd be like, "You, you what, mate? You having a bubble? You having a bubble in you? You talk like my fucking 3-year-old at home. What are you talking about?" It's like there's no way I was ever supporting. No way I was ever supporting Hemel. See you later, Vince. Take care, buddy.
Yeah,
Um,
take it easy, Vince.
I support Arsenal because my granddad was born in Well, he was born in Hendon, but he was like literally you could see Highbury from where he lived, and he
Yeah.
went to every game when he was a kid, and that's why I support Arsenal, and
Yeah.
also because I weren't ever going to support Tottenham.
Right. Well, like I say, I'm gonna have to start making my way off and getting my stuff ready for tomorrow. Um,
Yeah, no worries, man. It's been a
but
pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on.
no, not at all. And again, you know, I just want to say thanks for your patience over the last few weeks while things have been a bit up in the air. You know, I do appreciate it because
That's
I'm
all right,
under
mate.
I'm under no illusions that you know there's plenty of people out there that after a couple of failed attempts would have been like, oh bollocks to it. But no,
Well,
I
no,
do.
this would have been the last one because I'm busy next Sunday, so I wouldn't have been able to do it for the next few Sundays. So it would have been like if it didn't happen this week, it probably wouldn't have happened for a month or so. you know. So
Well, it's a good
I
job I've
know
got everything set up today then, wasn't it?
it's all gravy, man. It's all gravy. Don't worry.
Right.
Good.
Well, thanks for coming on, buddy. And I will speak to you again soon.
Yeah, definitely, man. Take care. See you later, guys.
Take care, bud. Bye bye.
See you later.